Hi everyone, welcome back to Miss Adams Teaches Macbeth Act 3 Scene 5. Now this is a very short scene, it will be a very short video and you will see why. Okay, so little plot summary for you. This is all about the witches. So in this scene, the witches meet Hecate, who is the goddess of witchcraft basically. And she, for some reason, is very, very angry. And throughout the scene, where it's basically the majority of it is a big long speech from her in rhyming couplets, is where she explains to them why she's so angry. So she says, you shouldn't be meddling in affairs if she hasn't said so. She would have liked to have been involved in all of their plans to do with Macbeth. She also says that Macbeth isn't worth it because he's spiteful and only cares for himself, which seems a bit strange because perhaps it would be a reason why he would be worth it. Because he's spiteful and only cares for himself. But because they're already in it, she's like, okay, well, fine, we'll get ready. We'll see Macbeth in the morning and we'll tell him his future. She tells them, let's get this all wrapped up by midday. And she's like, let's create confusion and let's create overconfidence in Macbeth. And then they sing. So what's wrong with this scene? You might have felt when you read through it that it was a little bit odd or perhaps didn't quite fit. And you'd be right, because William Shakespeare, the bard himself, did not write it. Instead, approximately 20 years later, a chap called Thomas Middleton wrote it and added it in. So the later performances of Macbeth had this little scene. Now, you might think to yourself, but why? And it's because they're sort of feelings about witchcraft and what they wanted from witchcraft in a performance had changed. They didn't want them to be quite so evil. They wanted it to be a little bit more song and dance, basically. And so the question is does it add anything? Like, why is it there? For me personally, I can't bear the scene. I think that it breaks with what Shakespeare was up to when he created the otherness of the witches. The fact that they use rhyming couplets in this scene when they're not doing a spell completely and utterly breaks the form associated with the witches, nor am I particularly interested in the spoilers that it has by telling us that they're going to create confusion in Macbeth. I would have preferred to have just watched it happen in the next scene. So I'm not a fan, but that's because I like my Shakespeare written by Shakespeare. Now, the question is, would this come up in an exam as an extract? It would be pretty harsh of an examiner to put in a scene that wasn't written by Shakespeare. And I think that if it did come up, as long as you reference what we've just discussed, as long as you reference that it's not actually Shakespeare writing it, but then look out for those rhyming couplets, look out for anything that shows her kind of displeasure. You can look at the stage directions when they have a bit of a song and dance. Or if you had a theme-based question on the supernatural and good versus evil, this could be a contextual point that you might make about changing attitudes towards witches. But I would be upset and surprised if this scene came up in your exam, but who knows. Right, quick video for you. Hopefully it was helpful. As always, any questions, pop them in the chat and I'll do my best to respond. Otherwise, happy revising and I'll see you next time.